One of the chapters in her new book, Forward, a memoir, is GOAT, because she is. The Forward, a memoir, was released on September 13th, so you should all check it out. And I'm not just saying that because she's sitting right next to me here in the Rich Eisen Show studio. I'm holding the book up, radio audience. There it is, Forward, a memoir by Abby Wambach. Good to see you, Abby. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Rich?
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, I wrote a book many, many years ago.
Really?
It was, but I didn't put my own personal life out there. I just talked about my love of football, right? You put it, this is all out there. Your entire life and what it has been and what it is now is right here in this book. Why did you decide to do that, Abby?
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
It all started off it was going to be a piece that I was going to be able to look back on and about my career, about my private personal life. And then a few months later, I got into the DUI. So I was having some real issues and struggling pretty bad, and nobody really knew about it. I was kind of suffering silently. And part of my decision to write about it was because I really needed to heal. And I think the only way I was going to actually heal from it was to actually tell the story as it was. Part of what was making and magnifying my problems even more was kind of being in hiding and suffering silently. So me speaking about my truth and doing it shamelessly helped me heal and is still helping me heal. And then now I'm able to put this book out into the world and hopefully help other people heal themselves if they're struggling with even different problems than I was.
So for those who you want to reach with this book, can you describe who you're trying to reach
humans.
with this book?
Humans.
People who are living and breathing.
Yeah, because I think that for most of my life, even my family, they've put me on this pedestal. And as a human, we only tell about all the good things that happen, right? And I've lived kind of a fantastic life where I travel the world and I play in world championships and I win Olympic medals and World Cup, and there's still stuff that I'm dealing with. So no matter where you are, what you get, what level of success you reach in your life, you're going to still run into some roadblocks and some problems that you have to deal with. And the not talking about those issues, I think, makes people suffer more, and I think makes people feel more alone. So for me, just talking about it, my emails and text messages, my agent's gotten his phone's ringing off the hook because people are like, yeah, me too. Or I know somebody who's been struggling with similar stuff. And that's the stuff that's good. That's the stuff that I want to be a part of in life. I played sports my whole life. Obviously, I played soccer pretty well for a long time, but I don't want my life to be defined just by that. I want to be able to actually impact real positive change, not just in my life, but into the world at large. And I think the way you start doing that is just by getting really honest with yourself. And for me, it was just writing a really tell-all kind of book about some of my demons.
Two-time Olympic gold medalist and Women's World Cup champion, Abby Wambach, here on the Rich Eisen Show. Do you have a problem when people say that you're the best female athlete, or I just said Women's World Cup champion, as opposed to just saying World Cup champion?
I get that asked a lot. People are like, why do they call it the Women's World Cup? And I just think it's just to delineate the difference between men and women, because there's a lot of World Cup champions out there. I personally think that I thought that Serena's quote was amazing, that Nike advertisement that happened.
She also said it during a press conference.
Well, I think that's where it came from. I think that she said it, right? And they created this whole campaign around it, which is amazing because, Serena's going to go down as one of the best and the greatest of all time. I don't necessarily think that I'm not the one, I'm not that kind of person that will talk about myself. Like for instance, the president tweeted that I was the GOAT, and I called my agent and I was like, well, that's kind of rude. And he was like, what do you mean? It's like, well, GOAT, I'm a sheep or something. He's like, you don't know what that means, do you?
You did not know that.
And I had no idea what it meant. I had no idea. The president of the United States tweeted at me, congratulations, GOAT. And I was like, that's kind of mean. I had no clue. No clue.
GOAT, not, the animal.
Right, I get
Abby.
it. I get it now. I understand now what it means, and it's amazing. But I don't do that. And I think that that's what was maybe making some of my issues even more magnified, is because I when I wake up in the morning, I'm not there you are, greatest of all time. You know, I don't look at myself like that. And there's always going to be somebody that came before me, and there's always going to be somebody that comes after me. And comparing, and like we all do that, like as analysts, like of sports, we're going to do that forever. We're going to analyze who's better here and there this year, and it's like it's pointless in my mind because you can't. I mean, there's no way.
You're talking to the right person here because, you know, nuance is not really the currency for shows like a sports talk radio show. Right. It's either like you suck,
right,
or you're great,
right,
or you're normally great, but boy, did you suck yesterday.
Right. Well, and it's so hard to compare. Like, let's say people were compared me my whole career to Mia Hamm. One of my friends, she in my mind is and will forever be the greatest of all time. And in her mind, Michelle Akers will be the greatest of all time.
Sure.
So we all have those mindsets, and I think that for me personally, it's apples and oranges when you're comparing two different people, especially from two different times. You know, because the game changes, the game grows. You know.
But I mean, you are spectacular at what you did.
I was good, and my team was really good. Like,
sure. Oh,
that's the truth. That's the truth. Is I would never have been as good as I was if I didn't have the teammates around me.
Well, except for Hope Solo, right? Is that wrong?
She actually. Here's the thing about Hope.
Okay.
Here's the thing about Hope.
Okay. Yeah.
You can talk all you want around her off the field stuff.
Sure.
And I have my own very interesting opinions about it. But on the field, she was a huge reason why we won a bunch of those gold medals and the World Cup. She was the best. She was the best goalkeeper that I played with, and her risk on the field, you know, like the risk versus reward. The reward outweighed the risk for long enough, and I think that's why U.S. Soccer decided to go in a different direction, because the risk then outweighed the reward. That's why they got rid of her.
Abby Wambach here on the Rich Eisen Show. Many people think she was done wrong by U.S. Soccer. Would you agree with that assessment?
Well, I wasn't in those conversations. I personally believe, my opinion is that it was a Lifetime Achievement Award for her in terms of how many things had gone wrong off the field. And, you know, Jill, their coach, I think has chosen that she wants to start creating and bring in new blood, young players. And that's her prerogative. It's her choice. And if you think about in 3 years when the 2019 World Cup happens, you know, Hope will be a little bit older, and I think that they wanted to start grooming that next goalkeeper now.
I've got Abby Wambach here on the Rich Eisen Show. I want to take a break and come back in 60 ticks of the clock.
Yeah.
I want you to help me become a better AYSO coach. Okay.
I got all the tips.
I got all the tips. I need that help.
For your 5-year-old.
I need that help.
Can't wait.
Okay. And I've got a 3-year-old daughter that I'm going to end up having to coach too, I have a feeling. Okay.
Yes.
So I need.
Well, after these tips, you're going to probably take them through high school at least.
Well, I mean, World Cup, right?
Yes.
I mean.
Well, we got to groom you a little bit.
Okay.
We don't want to put the
one
cart
step
before
at a
the
time.
horse.
One step at a time. First step being a 60-second break. Forward, a memoir by Abby Wambach. We are back here with the GOAT, GOAT, here on the Rich Eisen Show. Again, pleased to have in studio Abby Wambach. Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. Forward, go get it in Amazon.com and bookstores near you. It's an intense read, to say the least. And Abby Wambach here on the Rich Eisen Show. You said in the last segment that the president tweeted at you. I mean, you can't get any higher up a flowchart than that. But who have you met? Who else? Drop some names who you've been able to meet through
dropping.
your. Yeah,
Jeez,
I know
I'm not
that's
good at this game.
Who's that you're like, you know, that was cool.
People that I was like excited to meet.
Yes.
Amy Schumer, for sure.
Where'd you meet her?
I met her at the Time 100 gala in 2015.
Yeah.
I've met Caitlyn Jenner, which she was a big one for our team because we watched the Diane Sawyer special.
You mean as a team you watched Caitlyn?
We were like
we
were like in camp, and I watched it one night, and I was like, you guys have to watch it. And so we became massive fans of her because it was such an educational thing for us and the whole transgender community. So for me, Caitlyn was big, and we've become friends since. Lena Dunham, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is so nice. Ooh, this is a really good story.
Yes.
Actually, I don't know if I can tell this on
Go
on
ahead.
there.
Go ahead. Don't worry about it.
Well, so after Taylor's concert,
Yeah.
she had this great party, and they had like they had this like a ping pong table, right? And back when I was partying, I was playing, ping pong with alcoholic beverages or whatnot.
Beer pong or something.
Yeah,
like
beer
that.
pong is
Sure.
what it's called.
Sure.
And
I've been there.
And Barefoot Contessa came over, Ina, and I met her, and she's like, "What's this game?" And I was like, "This is beer pong." She's like, "I'm drinking wine." So she and I were playing beer pong. She was playing with wine, and Taylor walked up, and she's like, "Ina and Abby Wambach playing beer pong after one of my concerts. This might be the very best thing I've ever witnessed." And I thought to myself, you know what, Taylor? You're right.
You're correct.
You're completely correct.
You're spot on right there.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, and what do you think of when little girls come up to you, right? Knowing what your book's about and the struggles that you had growing up in Rochester and the struggles you had with your own skull.
Yeah.
What do you think of with these little girls coming up to you and so excited to meet you?
Well, I think that, the thing that I want and have always wanted to be is just real. I didn't want kids to look so far up at me that they couldn't even envision themselves becoming something like me, whether it be because of my sexuality or the way I played the game or now my fight for equality and equal rights. I wanted them to be able to actually see themselves in me. And that's what a big reason why I wrote this book too, is because there's so much that I've gone through in my life that is hard and that is human, and that I hope that 10-year-old girl can find herself in some of these pages.
Mm-hmm. How are you going to stay attached to the game?
Well, I'm working with ESPN and just staying involved in sports, something that I'm very passionate about. I've become like an Uber fan, watching them play at the Olympics. Unfortunately, they didn't win, but I was just like crazy on the couch, And this game is it's still in its infancy here in the U.S., right? Even though the women's game is pretty advanced, MLS is growing. So it's an interesting thing to have watched throughout my career, and now post career, I think it's going to do even better.
So, what other sport what that you consider as a spectator did you love to watch? Are you a football fan? You're a baseball fan?
I love watching the NFL and the athleticism. I mean, when you've brutalized your body for as long as I did, you really enjoy watching true athletic. Like, these guys are just incredible athletes, and what they do with their bodies and what they're capable of doing and the strength that they have, it's something that I enjoy watching.
Is it a safe assumption because you're from Rochester, you're a Buffalo Bill fan?
I was until they went to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost every time.
So you've got your heart broken.
And I'm not saying on air that I'm not a Buffalo Bills fan, but I'm saying that I was heartbroken.
Okay.
And if you read my book, I'm pretty predisposed to like maybe having my heart broken and holding slight grudges in those ways. But I've never really come back to Buffalo.
Okay.
I mean, I used to live there a couple years ago, in the summer times when I was playing with the NWSL team that I was on. But
so do you have a team, an NFL team that you found, or just any
no,
particular? Okay.
Because of those years, and gosh, I love Jim Kelly, and I wish nothing but the best for him and his family. But man, those were some heartbreaking years.
Yeah, I hear you.
As a youngster.
So Abby Wambach here on the Rich Eisen Show. Help me become a better AYSO coach.
Okay.
Will you please?
So what do you need?
Well, I'll tell you. I coached a bunch of 7-year-olds last year. Now my youngest son started this year. He's 5, bunch of 5-year-olds. So here are the 3 rules I tell them. You tell me if I'm onto something here, okay? I tell them 3 rules. 1, have fun.
Good one.
That's number 1.
That's the number 1 all the time.
Number 2 is respect your opponents.
Oh, that's a great one.
Well, because these 5-year-olds, they're just like, we scored, and yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, because they see the pros do it. Yep, that's a good one.
Okay. And the third one is celebrate with your teammates.
Those are great.
Don't run away from them.
Yes.
Like I scored and you're running like you're Christian Leighton. You just beat, Kentucky.
It's pointing to each other like you just passed me the ball.
Yeah, high five and hug.
Those are really good ones.
Yes.
Those are not only good like team building, but those are good like individual like personal tenets that like these kids need to have, is like not just to be so self-inclined, but to be other-minded.
Okay.
Here's a 4th one,
Please.
and it's for the parents.
Okay.
If you start to get crazy and you're running up and down the sidelines and you're yelling at the kid, your kid or somebody other kid, I'm going to videotape you and I'm going to put you on my Twitter.
a threat of social media as a check.
Straight up blackmail. Just straight up blackmail the parents. They can sign a contract, whatever. This is actually from my agent, Dan Levy. He did this at one of his kids' athletic events. Like one of the parents were going crazy.
How old is his kid though?
No, so my agent, his kid must have been 10.
Okay.
I don't even know.
Because once you get up, I mean, 5, I haven't run into...
5, they're just like, yay!
Well, I kind of get the look like my kid's coming out again. I'm like, well, I've got some other kids that need to get in.
Right.
I get
They've
that.
been sitting on the bench.
I get the looks a little bit.
Well, you just got to do your thing. And if they start getting rowdy, videotape them, film them,
and
then tweet it, or just like show it, like just... You can always blackmail them through like putting it on your show.
It's a threat.
Totally.
It's a total threat.
Totally.
Have there been any helicopter parents even at your stage of championship quality world-class soccer?
I think at our level, like we're grown adults, right? So parents don't really get involved, but you'll see it in college. Parents like go and want to meet with the coach and whatnot, and all that's doing is just like not only making your kid worse, parent. But it's also embarrassing them. And that will just cause massive years and many, many, many hundreds of dollars in psychoanalyzing later in life for all of us.
I love it. I get coaching tips, AYSO coaching tips from Abby Wambach. What about you coaching? You ever think about that?
Yes, I think about it, and I'll probably do what you're doing, and it's just coach the little kids.
That's it?
Yep.
Because normally the GOATs that I get to hang out with, like Dion, like all-time greats like you are, they don't suffer fools gladly. The number of times although Dion does, he does coach youth. He coaches kids down in Texas. But when he watches an NFL game and somebody does something stupid, he said he would cut him on the spot, coming back. Like he's not cut out for that. Would you agree with that?
I would probably ride in that. I don't think I have the patience to break things down. Or I'm just, it's still so new for me to be out and away from the game that I need to have a little bit more distance. But I don't know. I don't know if I would be even good at coaching. Like I know that I have leadership qualities with like a collective group of people that we could have fighting for the same idea and goal, but I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I would want to do it for more fun rather than like a job. And like that to me is like 5 to 10-year-olds like, hey, like let's get together, let's go outside, let's be active and enjoy this as much as possible.
Well, I just know as somebody who coaches AYSO soccer and wants to make sure that everyone has fun, I just know that if I ever looked up and I saw you on the opposing sideline, it would be a different day for me. Wait a minute, that's Abby Wambach coaching against me today.
Well, they don't even know the 4 or 5-year-old, 5-year-olds, they don't even know who I am.
Well, yeah. You'd be surprised.
Maybe yours does.
Forward, a memoir by Abby Wambach. Thanks for coming on here.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.